better, it's just getting worse. They'll stick you up for all your cheddar.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Rants and hiatus podcast with Daryl Smith Jr.
Shay Love.
And Ray Parker.
What's up, y'all?
I'm tired.
Me too, man. I could use a nap. If you're looking on YouTube, don't Ray look like a glazed turkey?
Yo, real talk.
Sweating like he stole something.
True story. I'm sitting on my floor and shit, minding my business. So I feel something like pushing on my head, but I don't know what it is. I can't really sense it. Why is my cat licking my head like a fucking whopper?
Salt.
I'm just like, it tearing my head up for a second. And I didn't even realize what it was because I was like half sleeping into a fucking show and shit. But then I'm like, what the fuck is that? Sure enough, my cat up there licking my top of my head. I was like, yo, she probably drink my ice cream.
Because their tongues are so
rough
weird
and ragged.
Ew.
But she started doing it like light at first. But I guess, yeah, she must have tasted some salt on my head and she started to really go for it. If she had bit me, I'd have threw her ass out the window.
You thought your head was a meatball.
Real talk.
A giant meatball. I
actually still laugh at that. It's this video where a dude got a bunch of the Whoppers candies in his hand, and is a dude sitting down like in rows ahead of him. He's like at a game or something, and he put the Whoppers up, and dude head legit looked like one of the Whoppers. And then he like, put the Whoppers down, and then you see the ball head. Dog, I lose it every time. Paul used to send it to me as a joke in the group chat. I'm surprised you don't remember that, D.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yo, that joint kills me every time.
Gotta laugh every day.
Yeah. It's always a good laugh. So what's up, though?
Nothing. I'm just tired. That's really like the angst of my life lately. I feel like I've been ripping and running so much. And it's the end today was the last day of school, which means nothing for me because I'm in school 12 months out of the year. So I always have students. So it means nothing. It was like not exciting, like, oh, kids, and then they'll be back in 3 weeks, but yes, why? So whatever. I'm here. I'm here, man.
Oh yeah. Well, I ain't tired. I don't know how y'all both tired. I'm the one that just got done running.
Well, you wouldn't be tired if you just got done running.
I wouldn't be sleeping.
Yeah.
Endorphins
popping.
Yeah, my endorphins are firing right now. I'm actually in a very pleasant mood. You know how tension wound up throughout the day,
Sure.
and then you finally go out, work out, run, and it's like a release. It's almost like it's almost like getting one off.
I won't go that far.
I knew I was touching sensitive waters there. I was going far, but I'm almost there.
There's a such thing as a runner's high and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But
it's not as pleasurable.
Nothing as good as that sweet release.
No, it's not. It definitely isn't. I realize that I'm getting older in that regard, though.
What do you mean?
I'm slowing down.
Of course.
It's inevitable.
Because it's not like, what I'm finding is, it's not a priority for me.
Yeah.
I mean, there will be a moment where it's a priority, absolutely.
But you have to get there.
Right. But it's not just like, being young, shoot.
It was a priority?
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Sex was our priority. And it was more, at some point it may have been notches on the belt, but at other points it wasn't about notches on the belt. It was like a part of your lifestyle. That's the best way to really say it for me. It was a part of the lifestyle. Like, I'm supposed to be having sex.
Yes.
Like, why wouldn't I be having, what are you talking about?
Why has it been a week?
Yeah.
Or 4 days?
That would be insanity. Definitely in the 20s. 4 days for what? That means I made a choice. Like, I don't
think I ever went a week in my 20s.
In my 20s, I went 8 months one time. 8 whole months, man.
Oh, when your girl's pregnant?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, why? What?
Baby mom was pregnant.
Yeah, all right. That makes sense.
So do you find that...
Yeah, why? I'm still confused.
Well,
I
didn't find her attractive pregnant.
You couldn't do it?
Couldn't and wanting are two different things, as you know. Like, definitely could and did, but it got to a point where I just... Because I think that's when I was really starting to mature and go over that hump of boyhood to manhood. And I was just like, then a personality starts weighing on if you're sexually attracted to a person as a man. Once he goes over that hump, like as a boy, every transitioning, you don't give a fuck about it.
Everything.
None of that matters.
Mm-hmm.
What she said to you 10 minutes before she said you had sex with her, you don't give nothing about. All you care about is the results.
Mm.
But once you get older, or once you start maturing and going over that hump, you're like, man, I heard what you said. I'm not finding you attractive. I mean, I had one of those angry pregnant women, so that wasn't attractive.
Yeah.
And then after that, she had a C-section. They said you got to wait 6 weeks, and it was like, well, I might as well just keep on going.
Like, damn, you blowing my erection high.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, damn.
You definitely blowing my erection high.
That's the thing, too.
You can lose your drunk, you can lose your buzz, you can lose your high, you can
lose your
definitely lose your
erection
erection high.
Good, because that one's still dumb as shit to me.
Once you go over that hump, but before that hump, there's no such thing as losing it. It's like, listen, I don't care what you're talking about. Are we trying to have sex or not?
Yeah.
It's not dumb shit. You just don't understand.
Because I'm starting to count.
It's just not for you.
Mad dumb. The way y'all explained the erection high to me last time, it would behoove both of you to understand how dumb as shit it is. It's dumb.
So I want you to talk to a male that you're engaging with.
Mm-hmm.
And don't use the term erection high. Ask him more like, yo, you ever had sex with a person just because you were horny? Or you ever had sex with a person, you know, for any reason other than you were really attracted to them mentally, spiritually, and emotionally?
No, I get that. I fully understand that. I'll venture to say that I've done that. That doesn't mean it's not dumb as shit, guys. Like,
Okay.
that's all I'm saying. Like, it doesn't mean that it's not
True.
stupid.
But it's true. It's just stupid as hell. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not combating the truth in it.
We're supposed
At
to
all.
be stupid.
That's the point of it. It is. It makes you make dumb decisions. It's a high.
Mm-hmm.
We all do stupid shit when we drunk. I mean,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
it happens.
I don't think any of us are, either of us were saying it was the wise,
It's definitely
calculated thing to do.
It's a miscalculating state. You're gonna make it's gonna be some accidents.
But you've put on beer goggles before.
Half of us are here because of an erection high.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that.
Yeah. I
Shit.
mean, none of us would be here without cum.
No, I'm talking about an erection high. I mean, you fucked a chick that you wasn't supposed to,
And now
you stuck with a kid
I don't
for the
think
rest of your life because of an erection high.
I won't say half.
I'm not, I'll say good 25%. 25.
Okay.
I think
can get that
majority
with
of
those
pregnancies
numbers.
are slip-ups.
Huh?
I think majority of pregnancies are
Even
slip-ups.
planned pregnancies are slip-ups. You can't, like,
Exactly.
You can't plan
prepare.
it. I don't believe in planning
Silly.
children. I think it's just being intentional. But you can't just say we're going to have a baby on this date.
The conversation is more like,
If she
are
dies,
okay
she
with having
dies.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Then alright, so
Like,
like,
if it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens.
Even then, it's like a question. We cool with this,
yeah,
right?
you sure? Cause I'm about to stop pulling out. What's happening? You okay?
What?
I'm okay. I think I'm okay.
See the
Yeah, I'll
point.
stick around.
Yeah.
All that shit.
So, how many years of quality fucking do you got before you get to the Bernie Mac stage?
I don't think the quality.
No,
has to
quality
fall off.
meaning time, like you putting work in. Quality fucking. Before you get to the Bernie Mac,
I
sexy
think
butt
until
50
you,
pumps.
for me, it's the pride. Until my pride kicks in. I mean, until my pride ceases, really. I'm just
All right, let me
starting
ask
right
you
now.
this: do you ever find the most efficient way to make somebody come so that you can get yours? Make your significant other come so you can get yours. Are you at that phase?
No, I'm not there. No.
Shit.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to
Once
get
a
you.
nigga out the game, he
I'm
out.
not doing it to get you out the
Pretty
way,
much,
though. I'm not doing it to get you out the way. I'm doing it to get you an orgasm.
Yeah.
I sometimes
I mean-
get you out the way.
Alright.
Well,
'Cause
sometimes
I'm not going to come, and I just am like, all right, this was fun, but now I'm over it. Can we just finish up here? That's what it is.
I mean, I've done that in my youth. I remember faking so many times. Actually, I started just doing it
With a
for fun.
condom on.
Yeah.
I haven't faked. It's just I know certain things that I can do with my body to elicit this reaction faster.
Yeah, but
That's the thing.
So I'm not gonna fake an orgasm for you. I mean I have, but I'm not gonna do it. And so most times you realize that a guy doesn't necessarily care. Like or that you can't care. If I get you to a point that you can't care, fam, is nothing you can really do. It's gonna happen regardless.
You can't care about what?
You can't care about trying to make me come. If my sole purpose in this moment is trying to make you come, is nothing that you can really do to stop it.
I'm a little puzzled.
yeah.
Hold on. So your sole purpose gonna be to get your nut off?
I have a hard time coming during like intercourse and like sex, and our head is bothering me at the moment, so I don't look forward to that. I enjoy the act of sex. Like I genuinely just enjoy the act of sex.
Shit. There's nothing in it for your ego. 5 minutes just won't hurt you in that session, in that situation. Jeez. All right. So I think you already at that phase.
Yeah.
See, I got about 20 years in so far, roughly.
20 years, you think you got left?
No, that I've done so far. So I'm trying to figure out how many more years of quality do I got going forward. So yeah, I got about 20 years. Well, consistently.
So if the
for about
quality goes
16
away, you
years.
still want to do it?
The
Because
quality.
then why are you, you're just doing it just to do it.
Yeah, if the quality isn't there anymore.
I'm just trying to figure out at what phase does my, I guess you call it your ego, does it leave, and I'm just trying to efficiently get it done, get my nuts so I can go on my day. The attention's still gonna be there. You always want to, not always, but you still want to have a sex drive. But
when you say that, I'm just thinking about time. Yeah, it'll be times where I'm just like, let's just get, got shit to do today. Or, you know what I mean? Or I'm tired, but I still would like to have some sex. So I'll get you yours, you get mine, we can both go to sleep and have a good night's sleep.
Sex.
You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, I think everything's for a reason. I don't see me getting to a place where I'm just like,
I think it's phases as well. I don't think
Sure.
that they'll, you get to a point and it's just like, well, this is what sex is now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It will be what sex is now, but there's another phase after that. You know what I mean? Like, there's men 70-something years old
still
popping
having kids.
babies out. It's, you know what I mean?
Listen, let me tell you something. The hot commodity in the street, commodity in these streets ain't Percocets. It's Viagra. And them old heads be selling blues $20 a pill. I do know, because that shit is a whole trade. So I know niggas still getting it in. I'm just curious as to, I'm thinking about the Bernie Mac skit, basically. I watched it recently. He was just talking about how sex ain't but 50 pumps. I ain't got time to, you looking all stupid at me. It's 50 pumps. You don't get your bitch, you out of luck.
He been that guy, though.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. He been that
I don't
man.
think you transitioned to that
Yeah,
person.
that's who he's always been.
I just was curious as to damn, when do you get to that point? Damn, I don't even feel like it.
You would have to get such a fucking in your system, and you can't just switch like that.
Yeah.
You're always gonna have a bit of pride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always gonna be like, all right, I don't want to just be out here just pumping.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I ain't got all day.
Sure, but
but
at this
50 pumps.
point, we talking about however many years you've been having sex with this person. You know how to get them where you're trying to
Right.
go.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, it shouldn't take so long.
No, you should know how to get your girl.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well, unless she's shay.
I mean, she's also not having
I'm
sex
single,
with the same,
it's
right.
yeah.
It's got to be a consistent person.
But
because she's gonna have to
just
teach him. He's got to learn her. She's got to learn him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's still troubling because it's still that's frustrating because he's gonna have to go through some time of trying to figure you out.
Yeah. I mean, I've encountered a few guys that know it instantly for whatever reason. They just pay attention enough, I guess,
Sure.
that they can learn it very quickly. But for the most part, I mean, I don't stick around long enough, I guess, for a guy to learn.
Hey.
Because it's a learning, men, of course there are things you need to learn, but it's not as intricate, I would say, as the female body. So it's not as it doesn't require as much as a guy would need to. Like he really needs to pay attention, or a woman really needs to speak up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
being vocal.
Yeah.
It's definitely important.
Yeah.
Understood.
So Ray, tell us about your Kensington experience.
Oh shit. Yes. So the other day I was up yesterday. I was in Kensington and
So that's a section of the city, and I guess you could call it the northeast corridor of the city.
Yeah.
The tip, right? You know,
Frankfurt,
hasn't
northeast.
spills over into the northeast. It's the northeast-ish.
Yeah, right off 95, Allegheny. So anyway, I'm driving down the street. First thing, as soon as I leave the building, first thing I see is somebody and they nod. You know a fiend nod.
Crack for your lane.
Yeah, of course. So I see this female. She's sitting on the steps. I'm just sitting at the light, and I just couldn't stop looking at her for some reason because I'm like, I don't know if she's gonna die. Like, it's just scary to me, just watching somebody go through that. So anyway, I go past her. I bang a left down this block behind the Rite Aid, and I see a dude just sitting there in broad daylight. Kids walking past, just shooting up, and I'm just like, oh. This really is Night of the Living Dead up here. But, like, I knew it was bad, like, the epidemic up there. But, like, I thought it was, like, in those, like, under the bridges,
right.
like, in certain places. No, it's just, like, in regular, right out in back of it was in back of the Rite Aid. Dude just sitting there, people outside playing, he just doing his thing. And I'm just like, oh, like, y'all just out in the open with it. So, I don't know. I was just extremely troubled by it. I'm not going to lie, I was bothered. Because addiction bothers me a lot, and I don't know if there's anything to be done. I guess the city is trying to do that thing like you was talking about earlier with like The Wire, but
Yeah, Amsterdam.
it's
So the city definitely has been talking about safe injection sites. I'm not really a fan of that, but I have seen exactly what you've seen. Like, I used to work in that area. Boy, oh boy, like, you see every demographic. Younger people, older people, middle-aged people. People who you're like, hi, you don't look like you come from this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are just
Because
hurt.
a lot of them don't.
They migrate to it.
Yeah. So many, when I used to be a social worker in the county, so many of, like, the kids, the older kids, that was their go-to for whatever they were looking for. At Kensington, it was always something they talked about. Or, like, if they got in trouble or something, or they got picked up by the police, I'm like, where were you? Kensington. Like, this is just where they went. And it would just be like, why were you there? Like, how did you get there? Like, what happened that was where you ended up at some point in time, that now this is just your regular go-to to get whatever.
I mean, it's so easy to get there.
yeah.
But
Catch the
who goes there
Catch the
to
One
be
shot.
there?
I wouldn't know. If you want to get high though, you want to get high, and people dropping like flies out there left and right. It's like you. I don't know. I'm used to people using in the dark. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna say going to the days of crack houses, but you don't see too many crack houses that's popping up.
Oh,
or
no.
just popping off like that. That's why they in the streets. There's no place for them to go.
Yeah.
They got these little tent cities. They under bridges. Then they get moved, and then they're just spilling into a neighborhood. Then they try to clutter up again. Then they get pushed out again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer for it.
Yeah, me either. I don't. I'm extremely puzzled by it, but it's troubling. Like you said, I just didn't expect to see it. Like, usually, of course I know about the nod. Like, I've seen people high before, but still seeing somebody out in the open broad daylight was 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Take a walk around our office, because you know it's a treatment facility right on the other side.
Yeah.
You'll see it. They just be dripping. And sometimes it's because these people are coming off of methadone highs.
Okay.
So you can definitely have a lean on a methadone high, but sometimes it's not. But for me, man, I have had so many thoughts about it, because we wound up getting so many kids in foster care because of it, or even in-home services with a functional addict. A lot of functional addicts, man. And I'm just like, a part of me is very sympathetic and empathetic. Another part of me is very callous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they talk about how many people are dying. I think it's Cleveland. More people died overdoses than gunshots, car crashes, and something else combined. I'm like, God damn.
Mm.
But at the same time, I'm like, population control. Now I know.
You sound like a Republican. God
I
damn.
know that's not the PC answer. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way though. Because I'm just like, one, we don't talk about it, but America is overpopulated. Two, once you're an addict, you're an addict.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you're addicted to, it can always pop back up. So we're talking about rehabbing these people, usually on taxpayer dollars. At least a part of it is subsidized by taxpayer dollars. It's other places that we can put that money. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't, especially because, like you just said, you drove through Kingston. It's in the community. Mm-hmm. So in that situation, do I think we need to be active and people need to put their brains together to figure out what we can do about it and get some taxpayer money has to go towards it? Yeah, I do. I agree with that. But like safe injection sites, I'm not really for it. Because some people do need to die. Not me, nope. Some people, there's no hope for it. And maybe that's not cool to say, but hope isn't always an option.
I watched,
in my mind.
it was this girl that, so when I moved on my block, and this is why it like troubles me so much. Well, of course, like I've seen people addicted my whole life, so it's like weird. Not weird, but it affects me. So anyway, it was this girl, since I lived where I live now, that lives across the street. When I moved on that block, she was badder than a 3-year-old. White girl, she was thick before white girls was thick. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the neighborhood was on her. Whatever. She meets her baby father. I guess this who introduced her. She's slowly weathering away. She had 1 kid. She got 2 kids. She got 3 kids. Mom got the kids all the time. She in and out of jail. She just always high all the time. One time she had asked to use my phone, and I felt bad, but I didn't want to let her use it because I don't know where your hands been. I don't know what's going. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, you know, I know you, and like most times she see me, she don't even say nothing to me because it's just like, of course I know you, but she can't look. You know, they can't even make eye contact with you at the time. So, anyway, she ended up ODing, but
did she die?
Yeah, she died. But just I see her kids outside playing every day. Her kids used to be outside almost getting hit by cars. Like, she, you know, dad in and out of jail too, so her mom is trying to manage these kids. Her brother ended up getting high in the house and burning their house down. They paid to get it fixed back up. Like, this is just a whole problem for their mom. And their mom was like the crossing guard at the neighborhood school, so I see her all the time and stuff and watching her trying to pick up the slack behind what's going on. And yeah, she OD'd and passed away like 2 years ago. But it's just like seeing the impact that it has on the entire generations. Now her kids are getting older.
So that's where my empathy and sympathy is, because I do see the trickle down and trickle up effects. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do have sympathy for that. But then I wonder, say she doesn't die. I don't know, I guess it's always a benefit to have your parent alive. Air quotes around that. Right? Mm-hmm. For her kids to always be like, at least see their mom alive. But maybe, is it worse, I ask, to see your parent trashed than to,
I can speak personally.
Have this fantasy about them?
So when I was a kid, like, the reason, again, is because my dad was addicted my whole life. So I was teased for it, though. But everybody's dad parents was getting high at some point. It was like the 80s and the 90s. But that embarrassment, like, I used to lash out. So, you know what I mean? Didn't matter who it was. Like, I'm fighting, throwing shit at you. I used to hit niggas with poles. I had, you know what I mean, a lot of shit I did to people because I didn't know how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, wasn't the embarrassment. It was just that I had to live through, like, I had the stereotype. Like, one day you got a video game, the next day you don't. Like, the one day you got clothes, next day you don't. Like, everything just coming and going, coming and going. And that was at the time where my dad was present in the house. You know what I mean? So that's my only experience with having a man in the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as an addicted parent. And that's why I related to the young boy on the wire so much. It was just like, you know, when you have a parent there's nothing you can really do. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk to them, it's like, you know, they coherent, because he did a good job of trying to keep his G about it in terms of not being high around me or trying to disguise it, like, you know what I mean? But at 5 years old, I knew my dad was high. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew what crack was, how you cooked it up at a young age, how they used it at a young age. And going through that and still seeing, you know, how they struggled throughout the years, I don't give people an excuse. Because at the end of the day, you know, you are an adult, you are in control, but I understand how that shit gets a hold of people and they become shells of themselves, and they don't even see themselves weathering away until they look up 10 years later and they think they still, it's like, you know, when you, not like when you drunk, but when you get drunk, you still feel like, I'm cool, like, I got it together. Like, people drive after 8 drinks all the time because they still feel like they in their right mind. And a person don't really look up and see themselves until years later and they realize everything they lost. And then if you do happen to get off it, now you got to clean up that mess that you made along the way. So, you know, your opportunities, or you making that transition to get back on the right side, it doesn't happen suddenly for you. They get frustrated, they fall right back into their addiction. And not to mention, if you are on crack and you're surrounded by crack addicts, you're having the time of your life. So everybody's looking at you like, you tripping, dude, don't get high, but you looking at them like, no, you're tripping. I'm having a ball. You know what I'm saying? So you can go from a mansion to a condo, from a condo to an apartment, from an apartment to a shed, from a shed to in somebody's warehouse. Like, that's the transition. But throughout that transition, you still could be having a good fucking time.
Yeah, I think we oftentimes, like, look at these people as an isolated incident. Like, my dad posted the other day about Kensington, actually, and it was just like an article about how bad it is, but he wrote, these people belong to somebody. Like, somebody cares for them. It might not be you, but somebody cares for these people. They're somebody's child, it's somebody's parent, it's somebody's brother, somebody's sister. And while we might not know their backstory, we don't know if their entire family gave up on them, or their family might not even know where they are, if they're alive. Like, it's so many things we don't know. And where I can align with you in some ways, like, hope is there for these people. But I think about that. I think about the fact that they're connected to something else, that it's a ripple effect. If something goes beyond, if they overdose, it's going to do something to somebody else that might push them into this same lifestyle. And I know we can't put everybody's burdens on our shoulders, but it's just something to think about when you see them.
I do. That shit affects me.
So I think about how much energy can you put into a person, period, and then on top of that, how much energy can you put into a person who's not being receptive to whatever you're trying to give them? Then I think about, and these are my questions for y'all. Are you more of a person to want to hold on to a person who's withering away? Don't cut the life support? Or are you the person like, you know what, I'd rather you just be free. I'll put the bullet in your head.
I know that for my father. Like,
I think the father is, it's always going to be a touchy subject for somebody. For you, your father, for your uncle, his brother, for somebody else, their dad, their sister, their mom, their aunt.
I don't think addiction is the same as somebody being on life support, though.
I
Like,
disagree,
I don't-
but okay.
I don't think that, like, somebody being addicted isn't the same as my aunt who was on life support and her daughters had to argue about letting go, about just giving up. But it was nothing else that could be done for her. Like, there was literally nothing else that could be done. There are things that can be done for these people. Like, I don't think it's the end of the road.
So I do think things can be done for people. But again, I would ask, how much energy do you put into a person? So I took this Narcan training, right? So I know how to do the Narcan thing. And one of my questions to the facilitator was, well, because she was talking about her experience saving people. So I asked her, have you ever, had to apply it to the same person, multiple times? Yeah, this one guy I've done it to, like, before I asked that, I basically asked, what if I have to keep doing it to the same person? Would her body become, like, immune to it? She said, no, that don't happen with Narcan. How do you know? Have you ever had that experience? Yeah, this one guy was like 10, 15 times. Well, how many times are you going to get to the point where you overdose?
Yeah.
And I bring you back?
Mm-hmm.
Before I'm like, you're making a decision.
Right.
And I understand the mental attachment and how hard that could be. And more than the mental, I understand how the physical attachment and a withdrawal can be truly painful. And it can be a person who wants to quit but won't for fear of the pain of withdrawal.
Well, they said the Narcan is like kind of going through withdrawal, isn't it?
Yeah, she said it was going through withdrawal, but it's just like, she said it was a certain amount of hours or something. Like, it was a shorter window.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He is a caseworker for people that are addicted. And he actually had a Narcan one of his clients. And when his client came back into, his client was livid, livid. He was like, you don't know what I had to do to get the money to get that high, and you just took it from me like that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like, that was the thought process.
That's what the girl said.
She was talking about that.
She said they're gonna be mad when they get up.
Yeah. I never, like, really thought about that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what Narcan was until, like, he said that to me. Like, I had no idea.
There's some other names, like 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea that was a thing. Like,
Oh no, I hear about it all the time.
yeah. I never knew that was a thing.
All the
It
time.
was pretty interesting.
Like, oh yeah, you can go get it from a CVS. Pay for it yourself. Save somebody whenever you want. Like, what?
Yeah.
Shoot it up their nose.
I think there's no real solution for it, and that's why this country hasn't known how to deal with the issue. Like, looking at the war on drugs, just how to treat it, and a lot of people can't really see themselves in them shoes because, number one, it doesn't discriminate. Addiction is in every community, and in certain communities they just disguise it better, and we tend to just write those people off sometimes, and that doesn't have the residual effects. If your child is addicted, like Andy Reid, for example, him having a son who's addicted, they trying to put him, he's in and out of treatment facility, they constantly getting him help. And you try to hide these things or throw it under the rug so, the world doesn't find out. But at the end of the day, a person does have to want to help themselves, and they don't see kind of the effects of what they're doing, how it affects other people. That's why that, like, that shit got a crazy hook to it. Having a treatment facility for people that don't want treatment doesn't matter. As long as the drugs around, they're going to, even when the heroin supply was low, people were still getting fentanyl to supplement for that. You got the biggest drug pushers in the pharmaceutical industry that's going to keep, lobbying to be able to push their drugs throughout the community, and nobody can do nothing about that either. So it just turns into a battle of, and that's why, like, having the safe centers for people to shoot up, that's their only way of solution to dealing with it, because they're like, we can't beat it. We can't beat them. I don't know if it's a way to stop it.
Yeah, I'll be right back. All right, let's see how this boy screaming over there.
He is pissed.
Yeah, I know, he is tight.
Something. Like, jeez Louise.
But I don't know if it's a way to stop it. I don't even think that's the goal anymore. I was reading that in The Tipping Point, like Malcolm Gladwell book, And when he was talking about the Baltimore injection sites, but you know, it just was like, how did the epidemic get to the point where, you know, and he said when they had those treatment facilities, apparently there were less people, or the volume of people that were addicted kind of decreased because people kind of not lost interest, but I guess having those safe spaces, they didn't trust it, or
yeah,
it's just like it took away the fun, I guess.
Yeah, but it's some people that do it for fun, and some people that do it for things way different than fun. But I oftentimes think about like problems that you feel like have no solution, like what we need to really look at in those instances. Like if we can't find a solution, can we find a root? Like why is it happening? And now I'm not talking about because the government is pushing drugs in the neighborhoods, or you know what I mean, or pharmaceutical, whatever the case may be. Like, why are these people doing this? Why do I drink? Why do I indulge in other things? What's the purpose of it? I want to feel good. I don't feel good enough in my natural life. Like, you know what I mean? Why are these people? If we could maybe attack the root, figure out the root, attack that part.
Mm-hmm.
That might do something. It might not do something for people that are already in this situation, but it could propel a movement that would decrease the numbers at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even think, I can't necessarily say that we're solution based in this regard, because it's too many things opposing each other. Like so many things opposing each other for us to be really solution based.
Yeah.
So we got to start looking at something else. When it
was looked at like it was just niggas though. When we was the poster childs for addiction, it was just to lock niggas up. Now we're just trying to figure these things out, and it keeps going. The conversation has been talked about already, so we won't go down that rabbit hole. But it's, you know, essentially, I don't know, man. It's just that dealing with the shrapnel is just, that is what troubles me the most, I guess. Knowing what it leads to, knowing how families are bothered or affected by it.
Right.
Like, people do not take that shit, well, people in power, I guess you would say, do not take that shit into consideration. And they pretend that shit doesn't affect their household. And they probably got an addicted daughter or addicted father or whoever. That shit is like, baffles me.
Yeah, it's a hard fix. It's a hard fix. Because you just wonder if there is a fix. Can we like...
And yeah, I question that too, because I remember we used to go to parties and had a time of my life. Didn't have a drip of alcohol and would have the time of my life. And now I don't even be wanting to socialize as much if I haven't had to drink to loosen me up a little bit.
Right.
And I be wondering, questioning my general disposition. Like, damn, am I not social? But I do know caffeine, for example. If I ain't had my coffee, like, I'm typically not going to talk.
Yeah.
Or not be as outgoing. And I just don't like building up reliance on things. That's why I stop stuff all the time. It's just like I'll stop drinking to figure out if it's the alcohol for it's me. Or, you know, I quit drinking coffee not too long ago, even though I relapsed to that. I had quit drinking coffee for like a period of time, because I'm like, well, I read that article where it was saying something about coffee reducing your brain function by 40%, or the blood flow to your brain, excuse me, by a certain percentage. So I kind of backed off coffee for that reason, but also because I felt like I was becoming dependent on it to start my day. And, you know, the natural ways, fruit, like I started just drinking smoothies instead. Water, yeah. I just started doing that, but it's just like, why do I have to rely on these things? Like, when did I get there? What did I do before I drank to go to a party? Or what did I do before I drank coffee to socialize? So I feel like when I was younger, I'd come to school and be right at it.
Right. Right. That was life. You did nothing. You just lived.
I just lived. Steak, egg, and cheese. And be right at it.
Yeah.
I mean, time changes you.
It does.
Yeah, that's what I meant by it was life. Like, you didn't do anything. It was just life. It's living. It's just,
Now it's like, I know for me, Not always. Sometimes talking to people, engaging, interacting with people, it's a chore. Sometimes it's not mine. It's just not the day for it. Just let me rock out. But then, you know, when you're me, or a person like me, you're labeled an asshole. So you gotta make sure you speak when you walk into the mother effing room.
Yeah.
You know, good morning, everybody. Hey, happy Monday. You gotta change the fucking voice, all that. But sometimes you just don't want to, you know, deal with people. For me, coffee was never my thing because I didn't like how it tastes. I just never got the taste. I don't get it. Like even if somebody would give me coffee candy. I will say I did used to eat coffee cakes. They were delicious.
But coffee cakes don't taste like coffee.
Well, then they probably
They do not taste like coffee. I think they go good with coffee. That's probably
Yeah,
the
probably
idea.
why.
Yeah, I think
they
they
not
are
taste like
delicious.
coffee.
Yeah.
But no, I've never liked coffee. In middle school, I tried coffee for maybe a week, and I poured so much sugar in it. And
Yeah.
then somebody said, "You want some coffee with your sugar?" And my dad would say things like that, and I was like, clearly I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
No
It
point
annoys
in
me
doing
when
that.
people pour a ton of sugar in their coffee. I'm like, dog, just get, I don't know, one Splenda or something. Or a Truly. What's
Splenda's
that
so
cup?
gross though.
That,
But-
that green and white pack. I like the green and white pack. What's that?
It doesn't
Truly?
have aftertaste.
Stevia.
Oh yeah.
Stevia.
I don't know. I like sugar.
But yeah, I
I
can't.
just like sugar.
I'll just drink my coffee black most times. If so, I just
See,
tell
I
them to put a
couldn't,
drop of cream
do
in it.
that.
Yeah, I
That's
haven't
how I
gotten
am.
there yet,
But
but I
y'all
have
think I had
like
a desk job at one time for
Mhm.
a period of time.
yeah.
To stay coherent and alert, and you sitting at a desk all day for 7 to 8 hours, you need coffee.
Yeah. I have progressed. Like I used to like need a lot of sugar, and it had to be like a lot of cream. But I've progressed, so it's fairly dark. I just need a little bit of cream, a little bit of sugar. Like I can't have, if I go to a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, I can't have them put anything in my stuff because I'll say a little bit of this and it come white, and I'm like, dog, that's not a little bit of anything.
Yeah.
Like this literally tastes like syrup. Why did you do this?
Yeah,
This
I don't
is
like to
terrible.
put no sugar in my coffee.
Like don't do any of that for me. It's the worst.
They disrespectful. Even that syrup they got, like, is sugar based, so you like give
Yeah,
me a
so
black coffee
you don't need
with
sugar.
Yeah.
The like French vanilla, things
And
like
you
that.
add French
Mhm.
vanilla or caramel.
But
and
it's just a
super
syrup,
sweet.
yeah.
And then it settles at the bottom of your coffee, so you like, I gotta constantly stir this
Mhm.
mother. Like, nah.
That's why I can't drink iced coffees. Because if you like get sugar in iced coffees,
It's-
like well,
it's-
everything
it's
just
settles
sits at
at
the
the
bottom.
bottom.
It's just like, why did I do this? Like,
I drink
why?
my iced coffee black.
So dumb.
I drink
I
my
just,
iced coffee
no.
black. I'm hard. I get
Every
yo,
time you
got
say I drink a black, I just feel like, ugh.
the cold brew black. It's another experience, man.
I ain't there yet.
Y'all try espresso shot? I know you had
No,
espresso
I
before.
don't do none of that.
Yeah.
Now espresso is hardcore.
Hardcore.
If you think like regular coffee is, espresso is like a deep, dark. I don't know.
See, not that I even remember. I just don't ever felt
Espresso
like
tastes like tobacco.
any of that stuff really ever helped me. Like, I've drank a Red Bull once, and I've done 5-hour energy before, and I've never really felt like...
I've never done a 5-hour energy.
5-hour
I just feel
energy.
like they
Energy.
literally
Red Bull makes me
are.
Yes,
I
I've
don't
never
know. I feel
had
like it'll
the-
kill me or something.
What?
5-hour energies. They just freak me out. Like just the idea of it makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
I
I've
used
just
to
been
take
able to will
B12s.
myself through situations when
Same.
I'm tired.
But sometimes in the moments, like I said, when you feel like you don't want to socialize with nobody and it's feeling like a chore, that coffee, you're like, hey, what's up now? All right, be good.
I think coffee is a part of my morning routine. Like, I don't think it does anything for me. I will say that if I go like a few days without having coffee, I get a headache.
Yeah,
See, that's the problem.
You deal with a little withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
I was dealing with it too.
I don't want to mess with nothing that I'm going to have withdrawal from.
Yeah.
That means
I'm
my
not
body getting dependent on it. I don't
I
want that.
mean, try to go on a no sugar diet.
I can do that. I've done that. That's not a problem.
You didn't have withdrawal symptoms? That's
See,
interesting.
you got to think about the type of sugar you're eating and how often you're eating
I'm talking
sugar.
about, yeah, white sugar, fruits.
Yeah, I prefer brown
Natural
sugar.
sugar.
Cinnamon. That's my cinnamon is my twist.
Cinnamon's good for you, though, so
That's
that's
my
fine.
twist.
Yeah, cinnamon's
No,
good.
I've never
Brown
really.
sugar is just white sugar with molasses on it, right?
No, I thought it really came brown.
Thought it was
That's raw. That's like that's raw. Like the white sugar we eat is bleached.
Yeah.
right.
The brown
So why do
sugar,
they do that? Why do we bleach rice? Why do we bleach corn?
We know why. No, I'm lying. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. I was taking all the way.
I was about to say, I did not know that.
No.
It was not that deep.
I wasn't fit to do it.
I can play a race game, but at the same time, I'm like, but still why?
Why do we do it? But
yeah,
like,
exactly.
But that's not, when you say brown sugar is sugar with molasses on it. You can just say
that's double sugar.
Yeah,
let's say pure cane on the damn box.
It's brown, but brown sugar, like if you buy something that says brown sugar, it's sugar with molasses.
That's crazy. I did not know that. I thought brown sugar was like the more natural sugar.
I thought it was cut straight.
I did too for a long time, but that's why, you know, like raw sugar, it doesn't like bind together. Brown sugar does. That's why, like, if you buy a bag of brown sugar, it's like super stuck together because there's molasses on it. But it sounds like you're just talking about raw sugar, like unbleached.
I don't really
sugar.
eat my sugar. It's not like I eat cakes and sweets.
No, I'm saying, but you said you like brown sugar.
Yeah, like
commercial brown sugar contains 3.5% molasses, light brown sugar to 6.5% molasses, dark brown sugar, based on total volume. So
I throw some cinnamon, some brown sugar in my pancakes. Slam it. Yeah. You don't do both. Just pick one or the other. Don't do both.
What, cinnamon or brown sugar?
Yeah, don't do both. That's too much.
But cinnamon ain't got no sugar in it.
Yeah.
Cinnamon tastes sweet to me.
Cinnamon is...
No, I'm not talking about
the cinnamon challenge.
Yeah, I'm not talking about all that.
That's literally whenever I hear somebody say like,
you know, so I don't
cinnamon.
never have to put powdered sugar on my French toast. I never got that.
Yeah, I don't
Tastes
like
sweet to me.
that. I'm not a fan of that. But it's more than just cinnamon on your French toast, unless you're making it with just cinnamon.
I might put a little vanilla extract in there, but it's just egg, a little bit of milk, cinnamon.
It's just cinnamon.
Yeah, what else you putting in yours?
What, in your who? French toast?
Yeah.
You put cinnamon sugar?
That's what I was thinking you was about to say.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't even think I got no cinnamon sugar.
Did you put syrup on it?
Yeah, man.
That's a sweet, yeah.
I can. See,
I'm
the
not
syrup
eating
is
French
more
toast without
for
syrup,
the
like-
texture. The syrup is more so it's not dry.
You would eat French toast without syrup?
Yeah, depending on the bread I'm using.
I think you would have to use cinnamon sugar if you ate it without syrup.
I don't know.
Because I feel like you'll have a whole different idea.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll try it out.
Yeah.
That means I have to just use regular. What's regular bread? I don't know. I have to use a bread. See, just made some fucking French toast out of cinnamon swirl raisin bread. So good.
But that's sweet.
I was thinking about that's the absolute.
Yeah, so it's not, you can't do that.
So they bleach the rice to extend its storage life.
They do everything. They put plastic in the rice to make the volume.
Yeah.
Let's just stop eating rice, guys.
But it strips it of all of its nutrients.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Supposedly enrich it with other nutrients to try to put it back.
But brown rice has such a weird texture to it.
I mean, let's put it like this.
That texture
Matters for me.
slimy. Any soft textures get to me. Firm texture doesn't.
That's why I can't eat sushi.
Yeah, rice is.
I cannot do
brown
sushi.
rice has a weird texture because it has like I don't know. It's more
like
than
sticky.
one texture.
It feel like it's
in
gonna
it.
stick to your teeth, but it doesn't stick to your teeth.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's like brown rice does have a weird look. You gotta chew it a little bit more.
Yeah, because I think it's like
it's a firmer texture. It doesn't when you boil it.
Is that the fiber?
Probably it's the nature.
It's the nature in it. It's the
natural
nature in
process.
it. They made rice easy.
So all rice is brown, so they bleach it so it'll be used for storage purposes. So I'm guessing that's the same thing for white sugar too, because brown sugar gets all
that
of
makes
sugar.
sense. Take all the stuff out of it, and it won't.
I went to this exhibit in New York one time. Actually, it was on the 4th of July like a few years ago, and it was at a domino factory. The lady's name was Kara Walker, and it was just about how they use like black children to make the sugar, and she made a sphinx, like a huge sphinx in there, and out of sugar, like nothing but white sugar. But it was the lady like had I want to say like Aunt Jemima, like that's what the face was. But it was a Sphinx. Like the rest was like a animal body, and then she made little black children out of molasses, like hard molasses, but it was in the summertime, and it was this
What is the point
warehouse
of this
was
exhibit?
it was, I think it was just to display rather how black children were worked even up here, because it was in New York. And so she made these kids out of molasses, but it was throughout the summer. It was all summer long, so the limbs would fall off. And they would just throw them in like the machines that were originally there. But that's what would happen. Like the kids would lose their limbs on the machines. Like whenever processing this, it was just to show just how poorly children were treated.
So Domino, the sugar company, or Domino that sells sugar, is putting on this type of exhibit?
No, it was a black woman that made the exhibit. She rented out the warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the Domino? Is that Baltimore?
No, it was in New York.
Oh, New York.
It was in New York.
No.
The reason I asked, because right in Baltimore is a big-ass Domino sugar sign, and I was wondering.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Really, really interesting. I remember when I went, it was this black girl there, and she was with this white guy, and she just was acting so crazy. And I think it was just because of her discomfort of being there with a white man, but she like got down on her hands and knees and was like acting like the Sphinx, just being a lunatic. It was really just an awkward moment, but I think she felt awkward. She didn't know how to maneuver, I guess, in the space. It was super weird though. I hated her.
Man, you just gotta stand tall if you want
That's
the white
it.
guy.
Right.
I mean,
You made your
gotta
choice,
do it,
what's
like-
up?
If you gonna do it, I ain't tripping.
Right. Who?
I don't be tripping.
Yeah, just like be girl.
Do dudes care as much as women do about dating white men or black?
I don't know. I know I've never really. So, I will say, I guess 3 weeks ago at Kylie's birthday party,
Yeah.
I definitely saw a white dude cracking on a black girl, and I asked her if she was okay.
No, that's a little bit. He needed that energy.
You know what I'm saying?
We've been going through
So
that.
I
for
don't
years.
think that's
Fuck
a
that.
problem, but
No.
I wasn't going to ask y'all if that was.
No, that's not. That doesn't bother me at all. Actually, I'm actually applauding that.
But
We have to protect our black.
if
women.
y'all together holding hands,
It is what it is.
I said clearly y'all together.
If y'all in love, go ahead.
I don't care. Well, I don't know why I would care.
You know, I miss the international. I don't give a damn. But I just be wondering.
So, I don't like, I call it reverse interracial porn. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to see them have sex, but I don't care in the abstract, you know, if they're together.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't.
Reverse interracial porn. Oh yeah.
I don't like seeing white guys having sex with black girls.
Why?
It
But you don't care about them like actually having a bond. Because sex doesn't mean a bond.
Them
like,
two
you
over
don't-
there, I don't have to see them have sex. And
Mhm.
so I don't care. Like, y'all in love, cool. I'm actually happy for you. When y'all create this beautiful kid, hopefully it's not a funny looking kid, I'm gonna say, cool, that's a pretty baby.
It's like when we look at a gay couple. You don't want to have to see them have sex, but you
Yeah, I
can
don't
celebrate their
care.
love and be happy for them that they're happy.
What if y'all just started whipping it out right here? I might feel
Yeah.
a type of way.
But I couldn't watch
Right.
gay porn
I
ever
dig
in
it.
life.
I dig it.
I find that I'm not as like I still have never watched Brokeback Mountain or that movie, but I find that I came from a place where I couldn't see two men kiss without feeling just uncomfortable. So now I'm just like, you know, whatever.
I'm working on that.
I can see them touch each other. I can see sexual build-ups. Do I want to see them go, you know, just hardcore? Nah, you know.
No, I'm actually kind of conscious of it because now I can like check myself because it's like we have to be accepting of it or we are accepting of it. But it was just like in those moments where it does make me feel uncomfortable, it's like, nah, you tripping. Like, let them have it, you know. But they deserve to be able to display their love in public just like anybody else. But we come from a different era and a different place, so I
I don't got
understand
no
that. I
problem.
have a lot of learning to do
I have
in that
a
regard.
PDA cap for everybody. I don't care if you gay, straight, question. I don't care what you are.
Yeah.
There's a PDA cap.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to put on a show out here.
Right.
And no, I don't need to stare at you. But if you're in my line of sight, or if you're like making it so it's kind of unavoidable not to look at you, I mean, I think you're doing too much.
Yeah.
I think
I
there's a
agree.
PDA cap. Hold hands, there's no cap on that. But y'all making out, touching on each other. That's come on, player. I don't care if it's a guy and a girl. It's come on.
Yeah, like cut it out.
Yeah, like
I did see an old white man smack his wife.
right, like y'all want to do something. Just,
But
I wanted to give him a high five, like
joint, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I was like, yeah, that's how you keep.
Like if a guy is walking and his hand is just actively on his lady's butt and hers on his, they're just walking like that. Like that's not even comfortable.
No.
Why are y'all doing that? It's stupid.
I still can't stand watching people kiss in the club. That shit bothers me. Go the fuck home. I'm not with the stand in the middle of the dance floor kissing shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing, you weirdo? This is not the movie.
You never kissed
that was their night. They
trying to get some games on an erection. Okay. How you goddamn right, but I still feel like an asshole if I do it.
See, I don't. That's why I can't do the clubs because I don't know what I would be there for.
I would be compelled to kiss somebody.
I ain't
like the movie kiss
somebody, but I don't know what I'm here for.
compelled to kiss somebody.
Like the point of going out, I thought not going out. That's not it. But going to a club was it like to hook up, right? Or at least get a number.
No, I do it.
Don't
to kind of
do
get out the
people
house.
dance at clubs?
And that's
I
what
like
me and you.
dancing.
I like dancing as well, but
I don't like dancing at a club. Really, I don't want to go to like Saints. Someplace like that where the DJ is like slamming, but it's a hole in the wall bar and you get sweaty and you just dance.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that no more.
That was college.
I love that.
Never again.
No, I don't want to do that anymore.
I don't have no patience for it, and I don't like people in my personal space.
I'm definitely down to dance.
I can't do it. But
I want space, and I want to be able to hold a conversation without my fucking air bending my head. Like, I want to be able to socialize if I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, me and you have always different though, bro. If I was going out, it was always for a purpose. Like, I want to see how many, I'm going to just talk to, I need somebody to talk to.
A specific type of purpose. I think going out to socialize is a purpose, but it's just not your purpose.
Yeah. But now, I don't even, if I was to go out now, the reason why I don't be going out with them now, if I was to go out now, I'm just like, I would talk to a girl, and honestly, I have hundreds of things to talk about. But in that setting, my mind isn't down to talk, not on the page of politics, or some enlightened thing, or some bullshit, or anything.
See, I go out and I don't.
Cause I assume she's here to get somebody to crack on her.
Yeah.
You know.
I've never enjoyed the club. Like it's never. I've always felt awkward in this space. Like I just feel like, what do I do here? I don't know what to do with my hands. Like I've never enjoyed it.
Oh, that's because I don't like talking over music.
Then that's about the problem.
I'm a sniper though.
So what are you doing? I don't want to dance. I mean, no, I do enjoy a good dance, but I don't know how to dance.
Yeah.
With these people. 2 years ago. No, it would have been probably a year ago. Down DC having a good time. Young joint. Who God knows how old she was. Young joint comes dancing up on me. I'm down. You know, I got the rhythm. But she's just moving faster than the beat. Not faster than the beat. You're not on pace with me. All right, I'm trying to follow you. I'm not the guy that's staying still during the Wally. You know what I'm saying? I'm in motion, so I'm trying to keep pace, and I just couldn't. She was just doing too much for me. I was like, all right, well, it's clearly not for me anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm a sniper. I pick my victim, and I try to get her far, far away from the dance floor at the bar in the little seat, and I just go all the way in, go for broke. Most times it worked.
No.
I don't really go to clubs I don't really crack on girls over music. It's just like, especially if they with their girlfriends, it's just like too much of a task.
See,
I feel like I'm
and then you honestly, the girls probably looking at you like, why are you doing this, man? Like you had to repeat yourself to me.
Yeah,
I'm coming to talk to you and your friends.
Yeah, but after the club.
See,
that's.
And then we gotta play the let out. Now that means we staying up extra late. Yeah, I'm hungry. I don't want to eat at 3 in the morning.
Listen,
Yeah,
but, no, I get cabin fever though. I be having to just get out the house sometimes.
See, I feel you on that.
Fever.
But I'd rather just go on an adventure. I'll just go fucking just anywhere in the woods.
And the club isn't the only place you go out to. Like it's not.
I'll run in nature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but absolutely. But yeah,
I've just never enjoyed the club.
And
it made me feel very
I'm also the type of person who feels like, Yeah, the truth is, I feel like I need to have a drink in my hand.
That too.
And it's like, now I'm just wasting money.
Self-support has been my trick. So in recent years, that's how, one, I avoided getting super drunk. But two, feeling like I gotta have a drink in my hand the entire, because you do feel awkward. Everybody's sitting there with a beer and then especially if you're taking shots. It's like, I go to the bar, take a shot, so that means I gotta buy a beer just to kind of keep me floating.
The bar is my biggest weakness with going out. Like,
oh yeah, trying to get
navigating
to the bar
that
and fight through a million people.
No,
that's the only reason I would buy a bottle. Is because I don't feel like sitting at the goddamn bar fighting through 100 people trying to get a drink. Just not my forte. Not at all. But some people, I don't know.
I mean, I can get it. Because some people have that energy. They're all about it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my jam.
Alright. On to the next.
What's the next?
Yeah, I was about to say.
When They See Us.
You haven't watched it, have you?
Yeah.
No,
have you watched the Central Park 5 documentary?
I watched the documentary though.
Okay.
I know all about it.
So we all are aware of the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shay, you felt emotions as well while watching it?
I didn't watch it though.
At all?
I watched the first episode and then I was like, no.
So clearly. Why? So was the nope because of the context and the content, or was it because you just weren't feeling the series?
The content, and also I feel like not aligning it with a slave movie, but aligning it with this slave movie. Like, I don't watch any of them anymore. Like, it's just not something I'm doing. I need a different narrative. So this series is 4 episodes of Black trauma, and I just don't feel like it. Like, I don't feel like it. And also, it hurt. Like, I know I understand it. I knew what slavery was, but a slavery movie still pisses me off. It still makes me sad. Yeah. So this is in that same line. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do it. Literally, when I watched the trailer, I cried. Like, the one scene where the boy is in the interrogation room and his sister's about to sign the paper. He like, I just want to go home. This is a child. I dig that this really happened. I know the history of it, but it still sucks to like dramatization of it. I don't want to see that. Like, I just don't.
And the way they antagonize you. Like, in those moments, they're convincing you you're guilty. Like, I remember getting interrogated as a kid. They were literally talking to me as if I'm telling them I did not, like I wasn't there. I don't know what you're talking about. This did not happen. They literally speak to you in the present tense. Like, yeah, so after you did this, like I just told you, so you gotta constantly backtrack. So your best bet is to shut up. But they bully these young boys, and their parents, being uneducated about the legal system, of course, is going to go along with whatever the cops say, be super believable, super trusting of. I don't know how we trusted them, and especially in New York in the 80s. I don't know how they trusted police at all to tell them the truth.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how much blame I felt towards the parents for the lack of priority around it, for leaving the child unsupervised all this time. For the one mom, two moms couldn't even find their son. I guess, okay, I understand that. One was going to every single police station she could think of, and the other one was just calling around. I'm just like, all right. I feel like there was some blame on the parents. For me, so I remember I was only interrogated in my pre-18, or I'll say probably pre-18, only one time. And it was at Turner Middle School. Well, it was because I was in middle school and I was accused of rape. And I remember, I don't know if, what I will say is my dad, having been square and never been in jail, never been arrested, he made sure we watched a lot of prison movies. And so I remember watching Blood In, Blood Out. I remember watching Scared Straight. I remember him taking me to a prison. And so for some reason, I absorbed a lot of information on how to engage with police. He never sat down with me and was like, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. Or maybe he did, I just don't remember. But I remember like you said, you had to keep retelling your story. I remember being able to say, look, here, I can prove that this didn't happen and I wasn't there. I was able to identify a whole series of events. I was able to find the staff at the school who saw me at a specific time because I was taking them, and I never even, the one thing I would say my problem was I never even thought to ask for a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
That never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
But
You watched The Shy?
Yeah, I watched The Shy.
You saw that scene when the young boy stole the test?
Yeah.
And he was talking and he was like, bitch, I watched first 4 years. Y'all ain't gonna get me like that. Then he asked the young boy, like, you stole the test? He like, I watched first 48. I ain't saying shit. I want a lawyer, right? He like, I ain't saying shit. I want my lawyer. I was dying. But,
I mean, that's the type of education I think. So the purpose of me, I watched 3 or 4 episodes. I mean, by the 4th episode, I was like, I don't think there's a point of me going any further.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling
I think
emotional.
the 4th episode was probably, what I've heard, it was like one of the most gruesome.
Oh, really?
The 4th episode, yeah. Because it was about Corey, whatever his last name is, the one that did the longest amount of time, and he was actually processed as an adult.
Yeah.
It went more into his story.
Because he was put in isolation all the time. His shit was messed up.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
For me, it didn't like re-traumatize me in the way that some slave movies have. When you put that up, and I did register that.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it made me think about what I need to be as a parent.
Yeah.
Like what information I need to make sure my children thoroughly understand.
mm-hmm.
Like right now, I got them reading this book called Knowing My Civil Rights. They're about to read another one about knowing my law rights. And forget that. I need them to be very conscious and aware.
Is child friendly?
Yeah. I should
Knowing
know
myself? Yeah. I don't want to get that. I want to get that.
Yeah.
It's yeah, man.
I think this show definitely is necessary. Like, I think slave movies are necessary, but how many do I have to ingest?
And that's
you know
what I
I'm
was
saying?
thinking about when you were saying that. Like, at this point, you're like,
I am
don't
done.
need-
Mickey's not done. Mickey still has
You
to
better
see
know.
these things, but I am done.
You
like,
got the
there
point.
is- yeah.
What slave movie bothered you the most?
The last one that I watched was 12 Years a Slave.
Mine was
That
Birth of a
one.
Nation.
Birth of a Nation, I felt 12 Years of a Slave.
12 Years a Slave fucked
Lupita
me up.
Nyong'o was getting raped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Got
Lupita
to me,
joint messed me up.
So, and I think
Yeah.
I made it through the entire movie, and I think the part that I liked literally was like, I can't do this anymore. He got back. It was literally at the end where he got back, and he apologized for his like role in it all, and it just like fucked me up. Like, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I literally walked out the theater. I was with my ex at the time, and I said, I will never do this again. I will never watch another slave movie. And people were like, watch The Underground when it came out. You're not going to watch the one you just said. You're not going to watch Birth of a Nation.
I thought Birth of a
Shay, this
Nation was
came
good.
out. And I was
thought it was
like,
good.
I couldn't watch it again, though. I could only watch it one time.
I'm not watching none of that stuff again.
Yeah, I couldn't watch Birth of a Nation.
I'm not
I
watching
couldn't.
Roots.
I only watched 12 Years a
Only reason I
Slave.
watch Roots is to make sure my kids watch Roots.
I watched Django a couple
I
times.
feel like Django's more of a comedy.
Yeah, I like Django.
yeah, that was a comedy.
I haven't seen Roots.
Period in life?
No, I'm trying to think. I don't remember
I
Roots.
remember
that
they
well.
cut off LeVar Burton's leg.
Yeah, I don't remember. I haven't seen Roots since I was in elementary school.
Oh no, I haven't seen it again. I actually tried to watch it maybe in my young 20s, and they did a remake of it, and that's all I could find. I'm not watching a remake. I want to see the original.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel you.
we
Roots was a
watched
4-part
it. My
series
parents-
back then.
Yeah, we like sat down and like,
Yeah,
it was
we
a
made a
family
day
thing.
of it. It was
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing. I remember my parents used to be an event. Like when we watched slave movies, y'all ever see Rosewood?
Yes,
Oh.
that was a freaking
That
event
one?
in my house.
Well,
We probably
Rosewood
watched
wasn't
that
really
like
a
3
slave
times.
movie or
It wasn't a slave
segregation.
movie, but it was
Yeah.
It was
effed
Jim
up.
Crow.
It was one. It goes in the category of movies I
It
don't
was
know
Jim
if I
Crow.
can watch anymore.
Yeah.
Like
I
it.
watched
No, Rosewood,
so
man.
much.
Especially, oh man,
Then
Yeah.
getting choked up.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
yeah, Rosewood.
This
was
horse
hard
made
to
me
watch.
so happy. Oh my god.
Yeah, Rosewood was tough,
Yeah, Rosewood. It was difficult.
man.
Yeah, but I can't. So, but those types of movies, my parents used to sit down and watch together, and that's what they're built for that. In my opinion, like stuff like that is built for those moments because you have to show your children a world that they might not be aware of.
And it sparks a conversation.
It sparks a conversation. It sparks a conversation. But I don't need to do it on my lonesome. Like, I'm not just gonna say, hey, let's go watch this. You know, that's not really.
I gotta get my son.
I mean, it can affect your whole mood and disposition.
It can affect your whole mood and disposition. And now, like, as a child, you don't really. I mean, I went to predominantly black schools. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really have to deal with white. Like, as an adult, having to work amongst all types of people, I don't want to go to work on a Monday morning after a Sunday night having watched Rosewood, 12 Years a Slave. Like, no, like, I can't do that. I can't look at you and be like, hey, good morning, without thinking.
That used to be me. Watching Birth of a Nation and go to work the next day feeling like I'm a sucker punch the first motherfucker who say something crazy to me.
I don't want to do that.
I'm tired of all these motherfuckers.
I can't do that either.
It's definitely tough, man.
That's setting you up for anger.
It really is.
Yo, oh my gosh. Could you imagine when we was in college? I'm glad none of the movies came out. Because we was damn near in race wars.
That would have made me militant, you know.
We would have been like what's that Netflix, you know? I hate that I had it.
What I know is Ray, not Ray, I don't know why I said your name. We had put on abolish the N-word programs consistently. We had orchestrated marches. We did things to white people. Like
our school was higher learning.
Had those movies came out, I can't imagine.
My college experience was like higher learning, 100%. Like we be in a white party and it be all good, and then it just ain't all good.
Then the racism comes.
Then it comes
out. You got the right black people today, baby.
Yeah, we
turn up
whip
y'all
ass. Our first party in college, we got kicked. Like the white people act like they ended the party, and so they get us out. We was so green. We walked in that joint thinking it's cool. They're like, how much you get in? They're like $5. Cool. We get in there. We chilling.
But they got no black capacity.
They kicked us all out. Not kicked us out, but to act like the party was over. We all leave. Then find out later they started the party back.
That's really despicable.
You think?
That is I would have had more respect for them if they kicked y'all out.
They ain't want that shit.
I know, it's distasteful.
Yeah, it is.
They're that's really whack to me. Like, it just.
Some of them.
I hate that
the crazy
so
part
much.
was trying to, cause you had that dynamic. Like someone was super cool and was in our friend group that we adopted, and they was like our brothers. Some of them didn't never meet. Like we had this one dude, Bar, that never dealt with black people in his life.
Never interacted with a black person.
But one of the most friendly guys you'll ever meet in your life. Now I don't know if we left the school environment and went to his environment, if his behavior or attitude toward us will change. Sure. But at the same time, in all of our interactions, it was more so curious. As to he wanted to learn about our culture. He wanted to hang around us a little bit to see how we operated. And always had the same attitude, was super welcoming to us. And then you got people that just don't talk to you at all. That literally just can't stand you. Or it will come out. I remember one time, this girl Khalid got into a situation with this one girl. And everything seemed all good. And she ain't call him a nigger. But you know she wanted to call the cops on him. And she just kept getting in his face, I forget her name was the redhead Joan, but she kept getting in his face. And I'm like, Leaf, do not hit this girl. Get the fuck out of here. She trying to get you locked up. She's swung on him and everything. But I just was like, that shit all comes out, essentially, when you piss him off. I never liked her.
That was the truth I learned in college. Like, even the friendliest white person, you take them to the right space,
they flip.
They'll show you a different side.
I remember. So my dad told me a story about when he was. I think we were a baby, so he was still a teenager, and he worked at a restaurant. And he worked for, it was a white woman, and he said she was always nice. But this one specific day, he was doing something, and she asked him to do something else. So he was finishing this thing up. But I guess she was like on edge. It was busy at the restaurant or something like that. And she kept nagging him. He was like, I get to it when I get to it. I gotta finish this. She called him a nigger. My dad socked the shit out that lady. Like, socked her, lost his job, but also filed a suit. Like, it became a big thing. He was in a newspaper and everything because, and this lady, he said she was such a nice woman. I think her husband was black, but she wanted to get him upset because she felt like he wasn't doing what she wanted him to do. And it just be those little moments like all of the credibility, anything that I saw in you was gone because you thought that this was the right way to agitate me.
And that's what it really be. It's like, I want to just piss
I'm
you
just
off.
poking. I just want to poke you. I want to poke the bear and then get mad that the bear is a bear. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I used to stand up sometimes at my desk and really look around like I'm behind enemy lines. Seriously, that's what it used to feel like some days, because it just was like I was the only one there, and at any given moment, everybody can turn on me. And, you know, for whatever moments that they got me there, just had their way. Mm-hmm. So I just used to, I don't know, every now and again, just remind myself where I was at. It was unsettling. It was just uncomfortable.
I think the majority of the interactions were positive or neutral. Mm. But in my 4.5 years up there's some glaring, bold, broad, hardcore racist shit that I was a witness to, somehow affiliated with. And it was like, it started with a drive-by nigger shouting, and it just
that was
went
like
up from
our
there.
first TV.
I was like, oh
it was happening in our first couple, like, we got initiated. Like,
we're
real
talking
quick.
first weeks.
Like, that shit was
Not
crazy.
months. It could have been week 2. Not even been week 1. Week 1, week 2, week 3.
And you know what's funny?
Fucking niggers, whoa.
We got every reason to hate y'all, but yet you hate us.
I don't never think it's hate. I just always think it's fair.
Fear, hate, they had to let us know at times where we could have been letting them know. And we would kind of be on the back end of it. Like, be responding to it instead of being the aggressor. It ain't like we walk down the street, you cracker. Like,
we wasn't looking for it.
We wanted to be friends, kind of, sort of. Like, we just trying to chill, do our thing.
But you gotta, I think...
That's literally the history of black people in America. The
yeah,
Black Panther Party was a reactionary group. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't jump up with these aggressive, like, movements because it's just what we wanted to do. It's always been a reactionary measure to some absurd shit that was going on. And it's not even retaliation, it's just protection's sake. We didn't make these things to be like, we're gonna plan a heist and we're gonna like do all these weird things to white people just cause. No, it's like, all right, we're gonna protect ourselves. We're gonna put these things in place that if anything happens, we are protected. Yeah. But white people don't see it that way. Like because we reacted in any way other than being docile, it's like, oh God, they're horrific. You know, like, no, fam. You poked the bear. Yeah. I'm a bear. You've been calling me an animal from jump. Like, before you even seen how I move, you called me an animal. And now that I'm acting like one, you looking at me sideways. I don't get it. Yeah. The math is off. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, it was good life experiences.
I learned a lot.
I got a lot off my chest, and I definitely learned a lot. And I think it taught me how to move in the larger world. Because like you said, Shay, I mean, primarily... I definitely went to a primarily white school at one point in 3rd grade, Amos Land Elementary School. But besides that, it's just all black.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I always experienced being the white boy. There's no white people around, so you call a light-skinned person the white boy. You know what I mean? And it's just like, by the time you get into an environment where your real white interactions have been teachers, people in authority positions.
Yep.
Then you get to college and you're talking about peers. And you're just like...
Unless you went to an HBCU. Miss Natalia advised me against it so hard. And
to HBCU?
Yeah.
Really?
Because I, like, Spelman was, like, my number one choice. Like, I wanted to go so bad. And he was like... And I got accepted. Like, I got accepted, but they did not give me any money at all. But I was talking to him about it one day. He was like... So is the world all black? And I was like, what, Mr. Natalie? I'm a kid. Like, what do you... No, right? He was like, no, it's not. That's not going to be reality. You're going to put yourself in an unreal situation. You need to go somewhere where it's diverse, where you'll see something different. And it stuck. Like, for a long time. I mean, I wish I went to HBCU, honestly, but I definitely, being older, understands that.
So part of me wishes I went to a HBCU just to have that experience, because it looked like they had the most fun in the world, just being around these people. But I feel like I would have dropped out of the HBCU. I feel like it would have been more of the same.
I think it would have been.
I think getting out of Philly and going to an environment where I literally felt like I was by myself. I had to feel like I was competing with the world. That, and experiencing, like I said, you got good people, you got bad people. You got, those that I just don't trust none of them. I never did. But at the same time, I know how they socialize. I know how they move. For real, being in Philly, I felt like I was the shelter in terms of the world. Because this shit is like...
I agree.
This shit is different.
Because once you step out of it, nothing looks the same.
Right.
Yeah, because even coming back into the city, I did not enjoy the city. I still barely enjoy the city. I don't even socialize with people from the city.
Once I came back, it was just like, life just seemed so different. And then you spent all these years away from the people that you were in the city with, and you see where they're at and how they're moving, and your relationship is different, and you're not on the same page with them, and it's just like...
Their mentality be completely different.
It's just like we have two different base sets of experience.
Right.
Like, definitely those early years are your formative years, but it's a lot of formative things happen at 18 to 24, 22, 24, 26.
I'll second that. We were talking about the clubs earlier. The reason I don't even like the clubs out here is because the fun I had partying when I went to parties in school, and then I come down here, and the parties wasn't even diverse. It was all black people, but people was being themselves. Like, I can't stand going to a club and feel like I'm in a fishbowl. Like, everybody just standing around looking at each other. Yeah. Like, that's weird to me.
We wasn't having that.
But, like, we really socialized. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't look like a weirdo for, you know what I mean, dancing.
Talking to people. Or dancing by yourself.
Right.
Or dancing with people. Or dancing with 3 people. It was just like, you just
I feel like one of the clubs in Philly be like a cool contest. DC kind of makes up for that. So I don't think it's a black thing. I think it's a Philly thing. But at the same time, it still feel like y'all, do y'all know how to have fun? Are y'all just here to pop bottles? Like, what's going on? Is this a stunting contest? We all poor, like, relatively to the world.
Sure.
We all making poor decisions in here tonight. Only bad decision I'm trying to make is raw dog and the wrong woman. That's it. And ended up on an erection high having a baby. Like, other than that, I don't want none of y'all bad decisions. Just jokes, family.
No, man, I feel you though. Like, it was just such a downgrade.
Yes.
It was, and I remember going to like Nachi 3 and clubs when I was a teenager and just having a blast and thinking life couldn't get no better than this. Then you go to college and even the small things. Like when we went, I don't know what it is now, but at that time, we had the largest black incoming class. So it was like, I could understand why some white people got uncomfortable because it was just a wash of brown, light skin, dark skin, all of it. Just a wash of it. Melanin popping all through that campus. And so our class changed the whole demographics.
You went straight to Temple, right?
Where you go to Kutztown?
Oh, you went to Kutztown first. How was that?
Super white.
Yeah, because it's smaller. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah, the college is very much the population of Kutztown.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Damn.
I didn't expect, but I also it wasn't.
Talia went with you though, right?
Yeah, Talia had a ball, but me and her were very much different. Like we are very much different. Like it wasn't, and I had a boyfriend and I wanted to come home to every weekend. Like it was just different.
That always, man, my relationship didn't stand a chance in the city. I stayed faithful for like 3 weeks. And then back then, back then the person that you would think is the hoe man wasn't the hoe. So anyway, nigga teased me and shit. Like, Ray, you ain't getting no yams up here. Hold up, dog. Who you talking to? Man, it was on and popping after that.
I mean, that's a part of it.
We ain't never
peer
turned
pressure to have sex.
The peer pressure was crazy. I was literally going strong. I was like, nah, I'm gonna chill. You know, man, I don't want you, you know what I'm saying? And then I was 18, so, you know, I had to make those mistakes. But anyway, yeah, it was all downhill from there, and shit just got wild. Very.
But it was a good time. I had a great time.
College is for the experience alone. Like I know a few parents that are like, I'm not paying for my kid to go to college. If they don't make their own way to get into college, they're not going to go, kind of thing. And I dig it, but it's not so much. It's not just the book education you get in college. There is so much more you get out of college than just your classes. Like it's so many experiences that you experience when you go to college that you can't necessarily get by just leaving high school and going to work, because then it's just going to be everything that your entire family has done prior to you taking this step.
Right. So that's the conversation or the argument, because basically you got a bunch of people with diplomas. Like, I'm in the same position as people with degrees.
You just got some paper and some debt.
Right. You just got a debt and a piece of paper. And I tell people all the time, if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it twice.
I would definitely do it all over again. I'd just be wiser with how I get my money and what I do with it.
But at the end of the day, that experience was like the love, and it quite literally saved my life.
Yeah, for me, I needed it.
Yeah. It's
I
not
needed
even...
to get away from this environment.
It's not even a debate.
I needed to see different things, see different people, interact with people from all across this country, from other countries. I mean, you have a limited demographic. Well, that's actually not true, but in the city, but during our era, I would say, I was traveling the city, but I wasn't like in somebody else's neighborhood speaking to people. Like,
right.
Things like that. Like,
go up there to see what you're going to see and get the fuck out of there as quick as possible.
Right.
Do that. So by the time you get to college, I was lucky enough to have people around me who would push me to be more social and who would challenge me to like try shit. It's like, well, and that became the mantra, like, yo, we are in college, we are here to try things. And once that mantra took over, just balls to the wall, just had a good time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's for everybody.
It's not.
I think I needed that growth, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't.
What I would say is,
I don't think I needed it.
Yeah.
I don't think I needed college, but I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially when I got to Temple. It was fun. It was like a little world.
I always tell people the same thing. It don't matter what you're gonna do. You're gonna need an education. It don't feel like don't feel like, you know, you go to college and get an education. You do get an education, but you get an experience which comes with that education that, you know, you can't, it kind of runs hand in hand. Like, some people stay home but commute to college every day. Now, if you're doing that, this is business now, because your life ain't changed. Your dynamics of your social, you know, your social environment didn't change much. But at the end of the day, all right, then your major need to be something that, you know what I mean? Is it nursing? Like, something concrete that, you know, at the end of this, you're going to have a job lined up. Like, you know exactly what you want to do. Some people exist in the gray. They don't know what the hell they want to do. So what are you going to do? Like, you want to sit here and twiddle your thumbs? You better off taking some fucking electives until you can figure it out.
I mean, I would say,
I feel like everybody should go into college undecided unless they absolutely know exactly what they want to do.
Until you figure it out. Take some electives and figure it now.
Make sure those electives count.
Yeah.
exactly.
Towards the end.
I just say go grab you a vocation, man. Get some skills.
That too.
Learn how to do some stuff. Then
Just
you decide
find what
you
you
want
want
to
to do, dog. Just figure it out for you. Don't go to college because somebody said, "Oh, I want you to be the first one in our family."
See, that was my thing. It was an expectation.
It was definitely an expectation for me.
So it was like, all right, I'm going to go. Because I remember December before, I was working at the airport making what at the time was good money. I mean, you're in the 20s at 18, $20 an hour. It was more than $20 an hour. All the overtime you want, come on, player. I'll take that.
No
Why
responsibility.
am I going, right? No real bills. What am I paying for? A cell phone. I think that was it. My parents wasn't having me pay rent at that point. I was like, you know, I can do this. It was my friend. It was the people that was going up there. My friends going up there. I'm like, yeah, you know, I did see value in the experience, so I quit and went. But I could see reasons why I wouldn't have went. Maybe I would have been more of an entrepreneur had I not gone. Maybe, I do think about HBCUs, but then I'm just, everything happens for a reason. I could see me having multiple kids. I could see, like, take the same me at IUP and put me in an HBCU. No, I would have had babies. And my life would have been different. Like you said, you would have dropped out. I don't know if I would have finished. I would have been scratching and trying to survive. Like, can't keep paying for all these kids.
I hate the HBCUs like have that connotation. There are some super prestigious HBCUs, but when people like think about them, like your first thoughts were, I would have done this fucked up thing. You know what I mean?
I know I would have.
Like, I hate that that's
My
the
mentality back then.
first thought for a lot of people.
I'm reading, damn, what's the book you gave me?
Pimp.
Yeah, I'm reading
Iceberg
Pimp by Iceberg Slim. Iceberg Slim goes to Tuskegee. He couldn't fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's a certain type of...
He was a straight A student.
Yeah. It's a certain type of thing that's pulled out of you in certain environments. Like, if you want a whole phase and you just dive head first into a whole phase, I say college is the place you want to be if you want to be in your whole phase. That's the perfect place to have your whole phase. Because it's just a crop. It's just everywhere you look.
Everybody's there.
Yeah,
like,
man.
we all live in the same 5-minute radius.
Right.
Bunch of other people going through their whole phases too.
Right.
No slut shaming.
Nope. I don't think
Nope.
I don't think it was
That's
no
what
such
it
thing.
is.
No, it was no
It's
such thing as a
not.
smut. It was no such thing as a smut. It was just your turn. It was just your turn.
It was
Like, oh, you
real
got her last
simple.
week? Oh, I'm gonna get her next week. Like, it was
No
literally that
judgment.
simple.
It was just a good time.
Shit.
I remember at one point my pickup line when I was probably a sophomore or a junior, talking to the younger ones like, "Look, man, you in college, you just gotta try stuff." Boom, it will work.
Man, listen.
It's the truth.
But I
Just
just
try stuff.
tell young boys from the city to get outside the city. Even if you want to go to trade school, pick up a trade. Just just get out, go to
Or
Horsham.
even just
Like-
go on a trip.
Yeah.
And then try to do trips. Because you gotta start experiencing things.
You realize that many people are where they are for lack of experience.
Absolutely.
It's like so many things. It's a charter school in Philly whose the mission is simply that. Like, some of these kids haven't left their block, let alone left the city.
And that
Like, their
that's
mission
amazing.
is to expose them to other things just so they can see that there are other things. Because how can you reach for something you don't even know, like, what it looks like to reach for?
You wind up being in this small world. And if I would hope that in this day with the internet, younger kids are able to see that there's a bigger world. But I know pre-internet being what it is today, my parents definitely took me to the beach and took me places. So I got to experience things outside of Philly. But I knew people, I had peers, friends, who was not going anywhere out of the city, who hadn't stepped outside of West and Southwest Philly.
Right.
Like, they first
You don't know
time
nothing
getting outside
about-
the city is going up to the mountains.
You don't know
Ended up in
nothing about
Greensburg,
life.
PA. Greatestford. So I ain't for
Or
it.
shoot, still a kid, you take that long trip up to George Jr. Or you go to Glen Mills. Like, then they wind up having these great experiences. Never seen a horse in real life.
Right.
Now you got
Right.
equestrian classes. Never went swimming. Now you
I didn't
got
know it was
swimming
mountains in
class.
Pennsylvania.
Shoot, I ain't know until I saw them.
Yeah.
I was never going west.
I never knew.
It's going down 95.
I never knew.
Oh my God.
Like Blue Mountain.
I mean, in many of them, like, you
Yeah.
ride past mountains for a length
You
of
never
time.
realize how country Pennsylvania really is.
Yes, it's very
The
rural.
middle.
Mm-hmm.
From, I would say, from Reading on.
What's the
On
say
to-
what's the saying
What?
between Philly and Pittsburgh is Alabama or something like that?
I mean,
Yeah, it's true.
It's
It's
not
true.
even really an exaggeration.
I mean,
And it's not even
Harrisburg,
this.
yeah, but it's
It's
a
like
spit.
they got a country accent.
Yeah, it's different.
They got,
bizarre.
Even Pittsburgh
Like-
got a country. Pittsburgh people sound like they from New Orleans. Not New Orleans. I would say Memphis.
yeah. I remember when I first started interacting with Pittsburgh people. I'm like, why you?
Why you talk like
We
that?
in the same state.
You're only 5 hours away. They sound
Different
like
world.
we used to call them Bamas.
Mm-hmm. We definitely used to call them Bamas.
Like,
Then once you
I
get
had a
used to it,
whole
we start
argument
calling
about
them
calling
Burgers.
somebody a Bama. Because it's like, isn't it like it's short for Alabama? So if you call somebody from Virginia Bama, it's like, this is literally the kind of argument I'm having with my aunt, actually. Because I call her husband, who's from Virginia, Bama, because he's blows my mind just how country he is. And she was like, but he's from Virginia. It was like, so we a Bama. Like, I don't get
because
it.
Bama is about as country as it get. Like,
yeah, exactly.
we can talk.
In our northeastern mind.
Yeah. Alabama is about as country and rural as you can be. So Alabama is it. Shit, we all saw Waterboy when they was in Louisiana, all they accents and shit. But Bama, I think, by far.
Yeah. I don't know of any other, I mean, what else would you call somebody?
Georgian, no.
Yeah,
It's
like,
not
you want me to
country
call
enough.
your
I feel like it's not
proper
country enough.
state's name? No. It's
They
stupid.
got Atlanta.
You a
What
Bama.
poppin' city is in Alabama? Where would you want to visit in Alabama?
What am I working
Don't worry,
for?
I'll wait.
I know.
Mississippi too, but Mississippi just don't sound good.
No, it's
Mississippi
Mississippi.
sounds
Mississippi,
amazing. I would
nah,
love to
you
go
just
to
a
Mississippi.
Bama, huh?
I would love to go to Mississippi.
It's nothing in
For
Mississippi.
what?
I don't know. I just like the name. I want to go see what it looks like. I've never been.
Land?
That's cool. It's not the land I'm standing on now.
They
I
said
have no desire.
They said as racist as Mississippi used to be, the blacks and whites actually have good relationships down there.
Yeah, I've heard that. I got one of my workers is from Mississippi.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He says
it's not as racist as you would think.
because they grow up together.
Yeah, they always poor, living in the same trailer parks.
Exactly.
So the economic disparities affected everybody, not just a few. Ain't no reason to go.
But I'm still like,
I don't care how much David Banner screaming in a rap song. He never made Mississippi sound cool to me.
never made Mississippi.
Shit, what you
I
gonna
don't
do?
think it sounds
Drink
cool.
hooch and shoot?
I just want to go. I
I
don't want to.
mean,
I never want to go to Texas.
Teach me how to
Shit.
hunt. Like,
I used to go down Virginia when I was a kid, and just going down there used to just be too much. 'Cause
But
there's
I've
nothing.
always loved Southern living. Like, I've always loved it. I would go down Virginia
man.
every
I
summer,
stopped eating
multiple
pork because
times
of
a
Virginia.
summer. I love the South.
that's my experience too. My grandparents all from the South, so I would
Yeah.
go down there.
And I just have memories as a kid of being able to run freely, like just
Just
do
space,
all this.
yeah.
Space on
It's
space.
the air
You
is
didn't care about
different.
television.
The air
Like,
different,
it's
it's
fun
quiet at
getting
night.
chased by blackjacks. Like,
You
you
see
just had
stars
a
in the
ball.
sky.
You see stars. I
Stars,
remember
yeah.
one time I literally saw lightning where it struck the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrifying, but it was like, wow, I don't know if I'll ever see something like that again. Like, I saw
Yes.
the point that it hit the ground.
Yes.
I was on my way back to my aunt's house. We were supposed to be leaving, but it started raining. We were like, nope. But it was like those moments were just memories. Because I remember we all like hauled up in my aunt's guest house because nobody could go anywhere because the roads were so bad and it was such a terrible storm. But those are like the things that make me love it. Like, I remember running from. Everybody had a dog that hated everybody outside of the person that lived in the house, outside of the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have to, like, if we would come to one of my aunt's houses, we would come, and she didn't know that we were getting there at that time, the dog would be off the leash because it's Virginia. The dog ain't going nowhere that's home. And we'd have to call her and be like, can you come out here so we can come in the house, please? It's all of us, but nobody's messing with this dog.
Good,
And
one dog.
everybody in my family had
One
that
dog can
dog.
cause it be a fucking terror sometimes.
I don't know. I've had so much experience with dogs. I just, but then you don't want to hurt your aunt's dog. You don't want to like. Hit
Yeah, I'm not
taps.
gonna, yeah.
I mean,
Because
if
if
you
you
hurt me-
see the dog act like
That's what I'm saying.
it's
I know what I'm going to do.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
at the same time, you know.
But I'm not going to put myself in a position to have to hurt the dog.
Oh,
If I
yeah,
can just get
absolutely.
her to come out and literally just put her hand on
Sure.
the dog and it's going to be completely submissive, then I'm just going to do that.
See, that's the country dogs.
hmm
Oh yeah, just touch them.
And it can, but literally, if she wasn't out there, I remember one time she was telling us a story about how somebody came to her house unannounced, and it was like at night. And she just caught, the person was like knocking on the door, not even cognizant of the dog, and the dog is a very swift dog, so it's not going to even let you know that it's on its way to kill you, because that's what it would do. So the person's knocking on the door, And my aunt, she said she heard the person at the door. She remembered that the dog was off the leash. And she literally, as soon as she came, the dog had his mouth open about to bite this person. But the dog saw my aunt and was like, oh, all right, I guess I can't eat this guy. Ugh. And it was literally just because she got there at that time that person didn't die. But the dog has attacked multiple people.
I can imagine. Yeah. Nope.
It's just
Nobody shot it yet.
It survived. Yeah, fuck that.
In the country they're aware that it is their fault.
Yeah, the country's
Yeah, I
beautiful.
should take me a country trip. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And maybe
Especially as a kid. Like, it
gas up
used
the
to be a
pacer,
ball.
go to Virginia.
I'm gonna take a trip to Virginia this summer.
Yeah. I always, my family from Virginia, so I mean, I always had love there, but it just was like, all right, after a couple days, like, I'm ready to get back to the city. Like, it used to be, but they know how to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people down south know how to have fun because there's nothing else to do down, so they are super creative. Like, that was the first time I had fried crabs, like, going down south.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be like, fried? Like, who the hell fries their crabs? But they fry everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time having fresh fish, like, actually knowing what fresh fish tastes like.
Yeah.
That's something I do remember. The food just tasting different.
Tastes completely different.
Like, just different.
Yeah.
I had some shrimp this weekend, and it reminded me of the shrimp I used to eat as a kid. I'm
Taste
like,
the
yo,
salt water.
yes, it does not taste like the shrimp I've been eating for the past 20 years. Like, this the shrimp I used to eat when I was a small kid.
Yeah,
I hadn't tasted
fresh
in
out
years.
the water.
Fresh out the, oh my God, it's just
Yeah.
different.
I definitely remember fishing with my grandpa. Man, yeah.
So many things. The way a Southern woman whoop up a meal, you just be like, wait, what? You just did this whole thing? And like,
It's always
not
a
like
whole thing.
nothing.
They cook for real.
Like nothing though. You
And
just
they
be
cook
like,
for real.
how did you do that?
And feed everybody.
Feed everybody. And you can show up unannounced and it's done. Like,
Yes.
it's not, like, they weren't expecting you. This is just what happened.
Right. Oh, you hungry? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna fix you a 5-course breakfast. Like,
It's
damn.
crazy.
That's how my grandma was back in the day.
Especially with a bunch of meatballs.
Yeah, a bunch of pork.
Bunch of it.
Scrapple, sausage, bacon, grits, eggs, toast. And nobody cared about calories back then.
Nope.
You might give a
Remember
lot of
guilt-free eating? Do y'all remember guilt-free eating?
I do. I remember
I'm so tired of
Sitting
feeling guilty
down
after I eat shit right
with
now.
a big ass bag of Doritos and some soda
Oh my God. Sometimes I'll be like, yo,
or cheesesteaks
fuck my diet. Like,
on cheesesteaks
fuck being in shape.
and Taco Bell.
Seriously.
No, don't do that. Not serious.
No, I mean, I
Care
sometimes
about
I
it.
feel that.
I know,
I
I
don't want to
You
get
had the
there.
I'm gonna die anyway speech. I could get hit by a bus today.
Yeah. No.
Rationalizing all this, like, yeah.
You can rationalize
You
anything.
can't.
Your brain is very strong.
You can.
You're intelligent beings.
Then you live 48 hours later, you're like, man, I shouldn't have ate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Still
guilt
feel
kick in
good.
probably when you gotta go to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Like Popeyes, for example. Like every time I eat Popeyes, it tears my stomach up, but I enjoy it when I do it. Like, you ever see that meme of Elmo like kicking his feet and shit? Like, that's me, like eating my Popeyes, kicking my feet and shit. And then later that night, I'm like, yo, I'm never eating Popeyes. What the fuck was I thinking? Because it gets me up faithfully. At 3 o'clock in the morning, it hits me, and I'm on the motherfucking toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, why the fuck did I eat that Popeyes? But it's so good. And then they drop a new chicken flavor like every month. They got a new special. They had chicken and waffle flavored chicken fingers. Who the fuck can put chicken and waffle flavor in a chicken finger? I had to find out. There's no way you can kind of get around it. It's just like,
So what did they do? Is it the
Probably
batter?
It just tastes like a
Yeah.
little syrup and battered it with the pancake, the waffle batter, and it just was
Okay.
an amazing experience. Or then they had like a chicken breast, but cut it up to make it look like fingers.
Oh, I
Like
definitely had that.
the ripping chicken.
Oh yeah.
Out of bounds.
It is.
It was an experience. It's just like I'm happy as shit with my little sweet and spicy
The
dip.
sweet heat sauce.
Oh
The
my
sweet
God.
heat
That
is
sweet
sauce.
heat.
With
The
the
sweet
French
heat is
fries,
the
you
sauce.
ever dip your fries
Yes.
in sweet heat?
Yes.
Oh
that
my
sweet heat
God.
is so good. I'll go to Popeye sometimes just to get
I don't
something
even like
to do with the
biscuits,
sweet
and I eat they biscuits with
Oh,
honey.
the biscuits.
Oh my God. But I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning like, what the fuck was I thinking? And then I ride past Popeyes again like, yo, they got a new, babe, we gotta go check it out again. They got a new
We gotta
flavor.
check out this new flavor.
Like,
that is terrible.
Seriously.
Nah.
I remember,
Like,
listen,
no.
Daryl has this reputation to be the most health freak person in the job. In the job. So I be looking at him like, shit, y'all know this nigga. Because I know how to tempt him. We was talking about being vegan one day in the group chat. So Daryl like, yeah, I ain't really eating meat right now. I said, bitch, you put some buffalo wings in your face. You gonna fuck them buffalo wings up.
I'm gonna have yeah, too.
You're like, I'm gonna taste one. Next thing you know, he come back with a plate like, hold up, let me just grab a couple more. Since I'm here now.
That's how it be. I'm like, I already did it.
That's a buffalo wing pie.
I just set a limit. You know, I won't eat no more chicken the rest of this week. That's my promise to myself. 2 days later.
Daryl comes to my office the other day and shit with a warm honey bun. Like, I said, yo, they don't know this nigga like I do.
I don't even remember what I said.
They're like, wait, Daryl eats more than vegetables?
No, anytime they see me eating something unhealthy, it is like a shock and awe.
I'm like, wait, what? I said, oh, y'all don't know this nigga.
That's funny.
All right, y'all, anything else?
Oh, man, no, we
How
got
did we get here?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know.
I don't
Because
even
it
know what the
started
topics
with
was.
when they see us.
Yeah.
This conversation.
When they
And we
see
ended up
us,
down
to
south.
slave movies, to something, to down south.
Yeah,
I
I don't
lost the
even.
rabbit hole.
All right, yeah, but we're here now.
This is our reputation. This is what got us here. This is our name.
So as we climb out this rant and tangent rabbit hole, this oxymoronic rabbit hole, y'all got anything else to say? Anything to celebrate?
Hearts and minds are clear. Oh, anything to celebrate now. Hearts and minds are
Hearts
clear.
and minds are clear. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Rants and Tangents podcast. We hope we gave you that oxymoronic flow that we aim to provide. Remember, where oxymoron is in and of itself an oxymoron. Oxy meaning sharp and moron meaning dog. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Peace.